Hello students, in today's class we are going to discuss about output unit. Already we have discussed a lot regarding this IPO cycle. So in the IPO cycle we have discussed regarding input unit and how the processing takes place once you give instructions with the help of the input devices, and then after processing how everything gets displayed on the output devices. That is what we are going to discuss today. So output unit, which is usually formed by the output devices which you have attached to the computer. So it is not only the monitor by which you can see all the results. So whatever results that gets displayed on the monitor, which is much similar to the television screen, even you can print all the documents or the images in a paper with the help of the printer. So if it is going to be text and images, you will make use of a printer, and the output, if it is going to be produced as an audio or else a video, you will make use of a speaker as the output device to listen everything, right? So many different types of output devices are available nowadays, and if you look at these output devices, it will just produce the output which is being generated by the CPU. Normally it will do all the processing task. So once the process gets over, what will happen, the things which you have given, the instructions given to the computer that has been converted into the binary form, will be again translated into the human readable form, and then it gets displayed on the monitor. So this is how an output device will display everything. Got it? And these devices, if you see, even you can use it for storing the results for your future use also. So let us discuss about a few output devices that we use nowadays. And if you see, the most commonly used output device is the monitor. And monitor, you will usually call it as a screen. Popularly we will call it as a screen. As well, you can even call it as a visual display unit. So why it is called as a visual display unit? Because visually we are seeing everything on the screen that is being displayed on the particular device. So that's why it is called as a visual display unit. And if you look at this monitor, it displays information like how it displays everything on a television screen. So normally when we are watching some program in a television screen, how things gets displayed, in the same way you can make use of this computer monitor also. And this monitor can be called as the visual display unit, or even you can call it as the visual display terminal. And nowadays we have many different types of many different displays of monitor are available nowadays, like LCD, LED, and then you can even see plasma or touch sensitive screen. So many different types of displays are available nowadays. Even a few years ago we were making use of a display called a cathode ray tube display, where the box type TV or the box type computers will make use of this cathode ray tube, where it makes use of a picture tube inside to display all the contents on the screen. So this is nothing but a monitor. This is how a monitor will work actually, and the different displays that we have discussed now. So even one more thing, this monitor is also termed as an input as well as the output device, because when you look at the touch sensitive screen, it is accepting all the inputs which you touch with the help of your finger if you're trying to open an application. And when you touch the particular application, what is happening? The application is getting opened, right? So which is the output. So that's why it is also termed as an input as well as an output device. Now let us discuss about the other concepts like a printer. So next to monitor we are going to discuss about printer. This is also an output device which will generate the hard copies of the output. So whatever documents or images that you see on the monitor, everything can be printed with the help of the printer. And already we have discussed that what is a hard copy and soft copy. The contents which you see on the screen is nothing but a soft copy, and the contents which you print on the paper is nothing but a hard copy, that is the printout. So this printer can help us to generate both text and images on the paper. And in printer there are three types of commonly used printers are inkjet, laserjet and dot matrix printer. In printer usually it can be classified into two types, especially impact printer and non-impact printer. So if you look at an impact printer, there will be a mechanical contact between the printer head and between the paper, which is much similar to the typewriter. If you would have seen the typewriter, what will happen, each and every key will strike on the ink soaked ribbon which will touch the paper, right, and then the character gets printed on the paper. So there will be a mechanical contact between the printer head and the paper. That represents an impact printer. And if you consider a non-impact printer, there will be no mechanical contact between the printer head and the paper. So that is a non-impact printer. So in these two categories, inkjet, laserjet and dot matrix, we will classify according to its uses. So if you consider laser printer, we will not make, there will be no mechanical contact between the printer head and paper, which comes under the non-impact printer. Whereas if you consider the dot matrix printer, it is much similar to the typewriter which we use nowadays. So there will be a mechanical contact. Each and every it makes use of a dot to strike each and every letter on the paper. So that is how it produces the image in a dot matrix printer. And also many different types of printers available apart from these, whereas the new type of printer which is available nowadays are the 3D printer. So using the 3D printer, we can even print a physical replica of a digital 3D design. Very simple example you can consider, which is nothing but the caricature image of the person you can create with the help of a 3D printer, or the miniature of a particular object. So all these things we can do with the help of the 3D printer. Even if you look in the medical field, so for developing body organs, they make use of this 3D printer. So by using the bioprinting technology, many organs can be developed for the transplantation purposes. So heart and liver has been printed using this bioprinting technology, but it has not come into existence for this transplantation purposes, but it is still in process. So the next thing, the different types of printers. See here, inkjet, laser printer, multifunction printer, photo printer and 3D printer. So these are the different types of printers which we are using nowadays. And I'll just show you a simple thing regarding this printers. Okay, so I have told you that impact and non-impact printers are the two things which we use today. So if you look at this dot matrix printer, it will come under the impact printer. There will be a mechanical contact between the printer head and the paper that I have told you, and it uses dots to create an image. So each and every character it gets printed by striking an ink soaked ribbon against the paper. So that's why it is called as an impact printer. And if you look at this inkjet printer, it is also called as a desk jet or bubble jet printer. So it is one of the low cost printer, and it is most commonly used ideal for small offices as well as the homes. And this type of printer especially makes use of the cartridges of different colors. So by using the cartridges, it will spread the quick dry ink on the paper. That is how it will print. And this comes under the non-impact printer as well as laser printer. So it uses the laser technology to produce the printed documents. So this is how the printers print on the paper nowadays. Now let us discuss about the output devices of a computer. So if you look at this output devices that we have discussed already, so monitor, headphone, speaker, then plotter, projector which we use in our school, and printers, everything comes under the output devices. Then let us discuss about the secondary memory. So far we have discussed regarding the output devices. As well, we have discussed regarding the primary memory also. So in primary memory, we have discussed two different types of primary memory. One is RAM and the other one is ROM. And if you consider the primary memory, it has a very limited storage capacity. As well, it comes in either a volatile or in the non-volatile form. But if we need any data to store permanently for a future use, we have to go in search. We have to go with the use of the secondary memory, which is also called as the auxiliary memory. And as the secondary memory is nothing but the hard disk, external hard disk drive which we use, or else the CD or DVD, the USB drives, all these things externally which we use, the external storage devices that we use can be considered as the secondary memory, so that we can take the data wherever we go. It is we don't have to rely completely on the computers, right? So if you take a CD and DVD, which will have the more capacity? Obviously DVD will have the more capacity, because a CD will consist of only 700 MB, where you can store data only up to that. So the amount of data that you can store in a particular disk and the amount of data a disk can hold is considered as the disk capacity. Beyond 700 MB you cannot store in a CD, right? If you take a DVD, till starting from 4.5 GB to 8.5 GB, the disk capacity will be available in a DVD. If you consider a hard disk drive, starting from 1 GB, 1 GB till several terabytes, the hard disks are available now. And even you can consider the USB drive. So everything you can make use of to store data for permanent usage. And the secondary memory is a non-volatile memory, which I have told you cannot erase it so easily. You can store it permanently, and it has the largest storage capacity when compared to the primary memory as well. When you're connecting this secondary storage memory, like if you're connecting a hard disk drive or else a USB to the computer, you cannot directly the data which you store inside the USB drive or else in the hard disk cannot be accessed directly by the CPU, because the contents which you store in the secondary memory should be first brought into the main memory. So brought into the main memory means when you connect a pen drive, what will happen? First it will show an indication that USB device has been connected to the computer, and only when you open that particular drive in my computer, what will happen? You will be able to access all the contents. Otherwise you will not be able to access until you open the particular drive, right? So you have to bring everything into the main memory for the CPU to access. So examples of secondary memory devices include your hard disk drive or CD or DVD, the memory card which you use in your digital cameras or in your phone. So all these things you can consider as an example for secondary memory. See, these are the secondary memory storage devices. A magnetic tape. So this particular magnetic tape you would have seen some decades ago in the tape recorders. We will use this. And then so Blu-ray disc, a floppy disk which we used so many decades ago, hard disk drive, pen drive. So all these things you can consider as an example for a secondary memory. So let us discuss about the rest of the topics in the next class, children. Thank you.